90 Day Fiancé Season 11. I think this season's men are worse than Rob Warne. Sarper and Juan have the most red flags, and here's why. I feel Rob Warne from 90 Day Fiancé is a saint compared to the men in Season 11, such as Sarper Güven and Juan Daza. Rob was introduced in 90 Day Fiancé Season 10 with Sofie Sierra from the UK. While he is just 3 shows old, Rob has cemented himself as a franchise villain. He is in hot water now for wanting to fight his women cast members on the last resort and defending men like cheater Biniam Schreiber, who have done worse things than the women. In 90 Day Fiancé Season 11, some men have shown traits of becoming villains worse than Rob. While Mahdi Al-Saadi, Mark Bassett, and Sean Finch have their evil streaks, if you ask me, they can't be compared to Sarper and David, who, in a few years, might replace Rob as the biggest franchise villain at the moment. Rob Warne is a classic franchise villain. Rob will never change his ways. Rob was an instant villain in his season when he was introduced as Sofie's husband-to-be. Sofie had revealed that Rob had cheated on her while they were in a long-distance relationship. I saw how Rob did not step up for Sofie's needs while knowing she came from a wealthy family and made her live in an apartment with no bathroom. Sofie didn't even get a duvet from him. He gave her ample ammo to prove he was a liar and a cheat, talking to several women at once online and claiming it was just one. Sofie also claimed Rob was allegedly abusive towards her. She released pictures and videos showing him screaming at her, and her eyebrows were bruised. Sofie caught Rob on a dating app while they were at the resort. I find it strange that Rob took a certain fascination with Gino Palazzolo and Jasmine Pineda's relationship and decided Jasmine was a cheater and Gino was being played. He went to the extent of calling Jasmine a pregnant at the tell-all and saying mean things about her unborn baby. Jasmine had to be hospitalized from all the stress. Sarper doesn't seem trustworthy. Sarper is still a bad boy. Sarper was the franchise villain when he was introduced on The Other Way. He called himself the bad boy and bragged about the 3,000-something women he slept with before meeting Shekinah. He took his own time to make their relationship official and allegedly hurt Shekinah by pulling out her hair extensions during an argument. I'm certain that the same Sarper couldn't have changed so drastically within 2 seasons just because he was coming to America. Rob and Sarper are similar when it comes to liking attention from women, and Shekinah should beware. Juan is always complaining. Juan could ditch Jessica and his small-town dad life. Juan also cheated on Jessica when they were together and claimed he did it because they were in a long-distance relationship. Like Sofie, Jessica forgave Juan and chose to marry him. There is a child involved in this relationship, which I think further complicates it. Juan has also considered bailing out after looking at his new boring life in the US. He wishes to be on his cruise, meeting new women and partying. It won't be surprising if Juan walks out of his 90 Day Fiancé relationship. Smell a spin-off. 90 Day Fiancé fans believe this shocking family will get their own show. An unexpected 90 Day Fiancé family could be getting its own spin-off soon, if some wild fan theories are to be believed. The last time a family of 90 Day Fiancé cast members was cast in a spin-off of their own was the family Chantel. Pedro Jimeno and Chantel Everett's feuding families were so entertaining that the family Chantel ran for 5 seasons until the couple got divorced. There were rumors that Elizabeth Libby Pothast's family would get a The Kardashians-like show as well, but it looks like interest in the Florida-based clan fizzled out. However, a new family seems to be ready to claim their place in the franchise, considering how popular their sister's storyline is on 90 Day Fiancé Season 11. Reddit user Urban Mask shared a screenshot from the latest episode titled, "I Smell a Spin-Off." Would you watch Shekinah's family? The fan revealed they didn't mind a show about Shekinah's family, but they'd want it to center around Sarper. A top comment by 64CA said, "No, can't stand any of them. Sarper is the only good person," Princess Perez 94 wrote. "They're just wannabe Kardashians hard pass," and Ancient Actuator 7443 posted, "Yay. They totally came dressed for TV." What Shekinah and her family potentially getting a spin-off means. Fans would rather watch something with Sarper instead. Shekinah spoke about her family for the first time during her introduction on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 5. Shekinah revealed that she grew up in Tennessee, and she is the oldest of 6 girls. While her parents weren't born Amish, they loved the Amish lifestyle and had a lot of Amish friends. They decided to raise their daughters as Amish. However, Shekinah rebelled against conservative rules to pursue a glamorous life instead. Over time, fans met Shekinah's sister Sheria, who disapproved of Sarper instantly. In 90DF Season 11, Sarper, who has moved to America, has to get approval from Shekinah's daughter Sofie and her sisters so he can marry the Los Angeles-based esthetician. It was Sarper who made the scene worth watching, and, as fans have noted, a spin-off revolving around him rather than Shekinah's family could make for a better watch. Sarper went from a hated bad boy cast member to the most lovable one in the franchise just for Shekinah, who's being mean and cold-hearted towards him. Still, a spin-off featuring Shekinah's family also means more screen time for Sarper. Our take on 90 Day Fiancé fan theory about Shekinah and Sarper spin-off. Will fans see more of Shekinah's sisters in future episodes? Shekinah and Sarper's relationship is much more than her sisters Sheria, Zayona, and Mariah giving their approval to their sister. 90 Day Fiancé Season 11 viewers tune in to watch Sarper as he has turned over a new leaf once he tried to prove to Shekinah that he can be trusted. Sarper is more than his past now, and he has managed to build a level of trust with Shekinah as well as the fans. Shekinah's sisters may have dressed up well for TV, but that doesn't mean they will become regulars, since the feedback they've received is largely not positive. 90 Day Fiancé, who is Shekinah Garner's ex-husband and her daughter Sofie's dad. Sofie's opinion on Sarper Güven matters a lot to Shekinah. 90 Day Fiancé star Shekinah Garner's daughter Sofie's introduction in Season 11 has fans wondering who Shekinah's ex-husband and Sofie's father is. Shekinah, from Los Angeles, managed to get Sarper Güven from Turkey to the US on a K-1 visa to marry him. Shekinah and Sarper's love story began on a dating app during her trip to Istanbul and blossomed over 2 seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. However, Sarper wasn't quite liked by the audiences because of his controlling nature and anger issues. Shekinah had moved to Turkey but kept going back to the US every few weeks to see her daughter Sofie, who went to boarding school. Shekinah couldn't really relocate to a new country entirely, so Sarper agreeing to come to America must have been a boon for the mother. Sarper was now tasked with getting Sofie to approve the marriage. Shekinah warned Sarper that if Sofie didn't like him, she couldn't marry someone her daughter didn't like. Shekinah was never married before meeting Sarper. Sofie's father is Shekinah's ex-boyfriend, Berto Mata. Sarper is Shekinah's first legal husband. She was never married to the man she introduced in 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way as the dad to her only daughter. Shekinah and Berto met when she was just 23 years old. Shekinah remained with Berto for 4 years. However, he did regret not being in the US for 9 years and leaving Shekinah to raise the child by herself. Berto was in Costa Rica, where he was growing up. He owns a hotel there and Berto's absence from their lives was a reason why his relationship with Shekinah had failed. Did Sarper meet Shekinah's daughter Sofie? What did Sofie think of Sarper? Shekinah and Berto have continued co-parenting Sofie. However, with Sarper coming to the US to marry Shekinah, Sofie had a new stepdad. Moreover, Sofie, who had never met Sarper before, had already formed an opinion about him based on Shekinah's sister Sharia's interaction with Sarper. Sofie agreed to meet Sarper on 90 Day Fiancé Season 11 Episode 9, and Sarper only had one chance to make a first impression. "I'm a father figure," Sarper had said with confidence before meeting Sofie. Sarper had booked a whale-watching trip for them to take the pressure off the first meeting. "I feel like I'd already seen him before because of all the pictures and like I already knew how he talked, but I also feel like I want to get to know him more as a person as well." However, Sofie had already decided that she wanted to see Sarper treat her mom with respect, as she knew that the way Sarper worded things affected his communication skills. The trip turned out to be a disaster since Sarper took Shekinah and Sofie to the outside of the deck to look for whales. They got splashed by a huge wave and were cold after that, with Sarper getting seasick and embarrassed by how weak he looked before Shekinah's daughter. In the end, Sarper apologized to Sofie for the terrible trip. Sarper explained to Sofie that he was a totally different man when he met Shekinah and Sharia. Sofie agreed and wished to get a fresh start so Sarper could prove himself to the family and create a better impression on everyone. Hearing Sarper take responsibility opened Sofie's eyes to how he had changed and could change in the future. She hoped he wasn't telling her what she wanted to hear and that he was being sincere and genuine. Does Shekinah have any other kids? Will Shekinah have a baby with after they marry? Sofie is Shekinah's only child. The other way, Sarper Güven revealed he has a secret son he has never met. He stated that the child, who is now around 25 years old, was born when Sarper was a teenager. Sarper wished to have more children, but Shekinah had spent her 20s raising a baby and didn't want any more children. However, in October 2023, when a 90-Day Fiancé fan asked the couple if they wanted a wedding and children in the future, Sarper replied, "The main thing is putting a signature to heart emoji," and avoided the baby topic. Sarper Güven goes missing day before wedding to Shekinah Garner. It's the case of the missing groom on 90-Day Fiancé. Sarper Güven and Shekinah Garner are scheduled to become husband and wife this season on 90-Day Fiancé, but one day before their nuptials, Sarper is nowhere to be found. Although the couple once claimed they'd never get married, Sarper got down on one knee and popped the question in season 6 of 90-Day Fiancé, the other way. Shekinah accepted Sarper's proposal during a boat ride in his native Turkey. Since then, Sarper has arrived in the US, and the countdown has begun on his K-1 visa, as 90-Day Fiancé viewers are watching in season 11. Sarper and Shekinah have 90 days to get married, or else Sarper will have to return to Turkey. Shekinah can't locate Sarper the day before their wedding. In a preview from this season of 90-Day Fiancé, viewers learn that Sarper may have gotten cold feet the day before their nuptials. Following the Sunday, April 15th episode of 90-Day Fiancé, How Deep Is Your Love, TLC shared a preview of what's to come this season. During a tense scene, Shekinah is seen trying to contact Sarper via phone with a disconcerting expression. "Sarper's missing," she tells producers. She continued, "I said, tomorrow you're going to be my husband," and he was like, as she expressed hesitation with her face. Shekinah leaves her home as TLC producers are heard saying, "Yeah, so we're gonna go try to find him." Camera crews hit the streets of Los Angeles on foot with their equipment in tow as Shekinah exclaims, "Oh my God, Sarper. Where is he?" she asks as she crosses the street, looking around for any signs of her runaway fiancé. Sarper is adjusting to life in America. Sarper was spotted by a 90-Day Fiancé fan when he arrived in LA last year. Initially, the plan was for Shekinah to move permanently to Turkey rather than the other way around. But Shekinah was hesitant about making the move because of missing out on time spent with her daughter and leaving behind her LA-based aesthetics business. Instead, Shekinah persuaded Sarper to move to the US, but it wasn't an easy task. Sarper feared he would miss his country and family, who are now more than 6,000 miles apart. But since he's arrived in America, it's been anything but an easy transition for him. For starters, Sarper is not happy about his living quarters. Shekinah runs her aesthetics business out of her home and insists that Sarper leave when she has clients. Additionally, he isn't allowed to cook food in their kitchen, and he's worried about the cramped space. Aside from his living arrangements, though, off-camera, Sarper seems to be adjusting well to life on the West Coast. Sarper is a personal trainer and fitness instructor who now offers Boot Laugh with Sarper classes, which combine exercise, boxing, comedy, and dancing. By the looks of his Instagram reels lately, Sarper is fully enjoying his life, especially his work, in the States. Although thousands of miles from his hometown, Sarper found a way to keep the spirit of Turkey alive by incorporating traditional Turkish dancing into his classes. The other way, who is 90-Day Fiancé star Shekinah's ex-boyfriend Berto. Shekinah Garner, a newcomer on 90-Day Fiancé, the other way, is planning on getting married to a man she met in Turkey despite his questionable past. Shekinah has a 15-year-old daughter with her ex-boyfriend, whom she co-parents with. She wants her daughter to witness a healthy relationship. Her ex-boyfriend does not support her decision to move to Turkey for her new partner, claiming that she tends to prioritize looks over morals and principles in her relationships. 90-Day Fiancé. The other way newcomer Shekinah Garner has a daughter, and this week, she revealed startling details of her relationship not only with Sofie but also with her ex-boyfriend, Berto. Esthetician and events co-host Shekinah is 41 years old and found love internationally when she flew to Turkey on vacation. Shekinah was on a dating app where she came across Sarper Güven, a 43-year-old model and a personal trainer. Shekinah and Sarper have dated for just 5 months, and she's already planning on going to Istanbul to get married to him. Shekinah chose to ignore the red flags about the self-confessed playboy who claims to have slept with 2,500 women. In her introductory episode, Shekinah spoke about her Amish past and how she rebelled as a kid for her parents to finally let go of the lifestyle. What Shekinah forgot to mention was she was in a long-term relationship with a man named Berto many years ago, with whom she has a teenage daughter. Shekinah also mentioned that she sent her daughter to boarding school. Shekinah's ex-boyfriend is 27 years older than her. Before leaving for Turkey, Shekinah said there was a really important conversation she needed to have. She greeted Berto by saying, "You look so handsome," as they hugged. She had her first real relationship when she was 23 years old. Berto was Italian and 27 years older than Shekinah. They dated for 4 years. Berto had been living in Costa Rica for 9 years because he opened a hotel there. Shekinah said that Berto missed so many important years of their daughter Sofie's life by being in another country. His absence was a reminder of why Shekinah and Berto's relationship didn't work out. Shekinah has a 15-year-old daughter with Berto. Berto and Shekinah co-parent their 15-year-old daughter Sofie. Berto kept coming back to Los Angeles occasionally to see Sofie. During episode 9, Berto came to know that Shekinah was relocating to Turkey. She told Berto that she wants Sofie to know what a healthy relationship looks like. She has an atypical mother-daughter relationship with her daughter. Sofie has seen Shekinah going through challenges in her past relationships. Shekinah doesn't like sugarcoating things with her daughter. Shekinah told Berto that she would be coming back to America every 5 weeks during Sofie's boarding school breaks to meet her. Berto doesn't support Shekinah's decision to move to Turkey for Sarper. Berto revealed that he sold the hotel in Costa Rica and would have all the time in the world to spend with his daughter. He told the cameras that Shekinah has made mistakes with the men she chooses because she bases her choices on looks rather than morals and principles. Now, she was going for a man in a whole different country, culture, and lifestyle when she didn't even know Sarper that well. Berto accused the 90-Day Fiancé, the other way star, of not making her daughter a priority. Currently, Shekinah appears to still be in Los Angeles, so her decision to leave everything behind for Sarper may not have materialized after all. 90-Day Fiancé. Why fans want Sarper and Shekinah over? 90-Day Fiancé stars Sarper Güven and Shekinah Garner quickly gained popularity due to the things they have in common, especially when it comes to appearance. The two have undergone multiple cosmetic surgeries over the years. Some said they were the perfect match. However, the two continue to face problems in their relationship. Some also think that they shouldn't have been together in the first place. Keep reading to see why. 90-Day Fiancé, Shekinah Garner and Sarper Güven story so far. Shekinah and Sarper have been struggling with trust and transparency throughout the season. Shekinah is not happy about his past. He claimed that he had slept with over 2,500 women. Shekinah had trouble clearing her mind to the point where she met one of his exes. But things turned out much worse between the two. Sarper has been trying to prove to Shekinah that he's now a changed man. However, many 90-Day Fiancé fans think the two still have a lot of red flags to fix from themselves. Why fans want Sarper and Shekinah over? There are many reasons why people are starting to dislike Sarper and Shekinah's story. One of them is about how Sarper doesn't like it when his fiancée is speaking up for herself. At one point, Shekinah wanted him to get rid of his diary full of his sexual experiences. The 90-Day Fiancé star also spoke about her man's cleanliness, especially when it comes to his house. However, he never obeyed anything, making up excuses to continue living the life he used to have. According to Sarper Güven, his partner used to listen to her. But several viewers think it's a sign of how controlling he is. 90-Day Fiancé, Shekinah Garner and Sarper Güven still going strong. Despite all the doubts and criticisms, Shekinah and Sarper Güven are still going strong today. There are speculations that the two are currently in the US after Sarper was spotted by a fan in Arkansas. However, some 90-Day Fiancé fans believe they might be filming for a new project with TLC, especially considering Shekinah's interview in which she reveals they now have a house in Istanbul. Shekinah Garner also proved how much she loves her man despite their struggles after uploading an intimate photo of them last week with a caption, "I choose understanding, forgiveness, and resilience to cherish our love that outweighs any discord. Our connection is measured by how we rise above confusion." 90-Day Fiancé Shekinah Garner shares shocking third nose job. 90-Day Fiancé star Shekinah Garner is back with major updates about her transformation journey. The 42-year-old has done numerous modifications all over her body. She and Sarper Güven,